Hi, welcome to the video. So today I'm going to give you an overview of multiple different ways to finger scales. The whole purpose though isn't memorizing a bunch of scales. It's getting the freedom to play in these keys or these scales without having to think about them. I don't want to pick up a guitar and think, okay, I'm going to play this Aeolian fingering, then move up to slow I want to be able to just improvise like this and be able to play play whatever I want without having to worry about what position I'm in, what scale I'm in, but be able to see the whole key as one large position that I can move through. To accomplish that though, you have to learn the individual positions first on that, and then you use different ways to connect them together so that you're not just playing this one fingering, either the positional caged one or the 3-note per string one, but instead I'm playing and I can just see, again, where all the notes can fit together in any combination. So let's jump into this. I've done videos on these in the past, so I'm not going to get in depth on a lot of this stuff. There will be links to the original videos, but they're spread out over a few years period of time, so that's why I wanted to do this one that can kind of tie it all together. All the links to other videos, which will include free tab on all of them, will be in the description of the video or the comments section. So check those out if there's any you're interested in. So first, there's been a debate. I see a lot of people arguing about which is better, the 3-note per string scales. So for example, if I'm doing A minor, you have a fingering that does 3 notes on every string. That's what the 3-note per string or 3 NPS means. Or the positional one, which sometimes I'll just call standard, because when I first learned the scales, that was kind of the basic one that everyone learned. Sometimes you might see it called caged. All those positional, caged, box, standard refer to one that basically stays in one position, and they're pretty much all the same fingerings, just maybe one note difference. So if I'm playing that position for A minor, it'd be this. Now, there's nothing wrong with being able to play these different ones, but if I play the position one for the Mixolydian and for the A minor, if you notice, then if I play the 3-note per string one for Mixolydian, I'm playing a fingering that combines those two, that goes 2 notes on this side in the Mixolydian and 2 notes on this side. So it's really helps you to link them together. And the same thing will be true if I only play the 3-note per string, then I'm always shifting one position forward, so I won't have a position that goes straight down all the way. I won't have the positions where you do 2 notes and shift backwards. I'll always be shifting down and forward. The advantage of the 3-note per string is it gives me the same number of notes on every string. So if I'm doing a sequence and repeating it through that, it gives me some even thing. If you're doing hammer and pull-offs, it gives me some, by picking more consistency. But to me, that's not that important, because personally, if I'm playing through a scale, I'm not going to just play straight down the scale anyways. I'm going to be doing different things, so it's not going to be 3 notes on every string anyways, as I'm going to be doing other things. But even if you are playing straight through it, the disadvantage of 3-note per string is, like I said, it always shifts positions. So if I'm in a positional one like this, if you notice, this overlaps directly with my pentatonic, minor pentatonic. It also fits right over my A minor, F major, D minor arpeggios. So you can see how all those fit inside that. If I'm doing the 3-note per string, I shift forward into this. None of those pentatonic or arpeggios fit completely in the 3-note per string. So it's a little easier to see some of the stuff in the positional ones. But in the end, I don't think it's either or. If you want to have complete vision of the neck and be able to move around freely, you want to know both. So I did a video, if you know some of them but not all of them, that's, again, I'll link, that basically in one exercise moves through all of the ones on the neck, both the caged positional ones and the 3-note per string ones. Basically ascending one, shifting forward, and descending on the next one. So I would say work both. It doesn't matter which is better. It doesn't really matter which one you do first. I think the positional ones might be a little bit better to see first, but if you already know some, it doesn't matter. Just finish them out. Now, going beyond that, though, Once you have that, then you basically have the whole neck, so that's great. That's, to me, still the starting point though, because even though you have the whole neck, you're still probably thinking in those positions. So one of the next things you can do, and you can do this before you even finish all the positions, you can start doing this, but you need to start playing in different directions. So all the positional ones in 3-note per string are basically playing vertically like this. So try and play horizontally. So for example, if I'm playing that A minor, instead of going A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, I'm going to go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A this way. Of course, you could continue up into the next octave if you want. Of course, like any scale, you're going to go backwards too. And once you get used to it, of course, you're not just going to play it straight through. As soon as possible in any of these scales is start putting sequences, licks, improvising. And that's kind of one way you can tell. I would say, don't worry about memorizing a ton of scales at first. You want to memorize them, that's the first step. But if you memorize scales without learning to use them, they're worthless. You're just going to forget them at some point. So before you move on to a new scale, I'd recommend, as a minimum, if I'm playing the A minor scale, I want to be able to go any note in the scale, and then from that note, either ascend or descend from that, or skip intervals to different ones without getting lost. I also want to build to, as a minimum, before moving on, ideally, start from a note, and then play some simple improvising. It doesn't have to be complex. Maybe it's just changing directions and going up and down the scale. Nothing. But if you can't do that without getting lost, probably don't move forward to another scale, because you'll just start forgetting that previous one. The goal is to be able to create music with these scales. So once you can create even a basic level of music, then you can start saying, okay, I really want to have the option of moving forward to another position. So then you learn the position adjacent to it, and you gradually start expanding your ability to go either direction when you're playing. Okay. Now this is what will help you to be able to shift between those positions, is playing those horizontal ones on every string, go through, and it doesn't matter whether you finger it with 4 notes with a slide, 3 notes and then shift, whatever you want to finger it with. The video I did on horizontal playing is a page and a half of different ways, putting sequences in, different sliding, shifting ways to go through it. But basically the key is you start be able to see it, and again, improvise a little bit. So it does, now if you're just playing one string, it might not sound that great, but just be able to move through it without getting lost is the first goal. Okay, next step, another option is, we did 3-note per string. The question is, can you do 4-note per string? The answer is yes, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend it other than as maybe an exercise. So that's why in the title I put 5 different methods, and then parentheses 6. The 6th one is 4-note per string, but I'm going to kind of recommend against it. If I do 4 notes per string, and I can slide, I could use separate fingers and shift, doesn't really matter. But I'm going to end up covering most of the neck in that single scale, and there's not going to be any pauses. I'm going to constantly be moving on every string forward, which makes it hard to really play in a practical fashion if I'm moving forward all the time. And it's also covering too much of the neck that it's can only be started back here at the beginning, otherwise it's going to run out of frets. So 4 notes per string is good for shifting positions, but I wouldn't have all strings 4 note per string. So instead, I'd say do a combination of 3 and 4 notes. So when I'm playing 3, if I'm playing here, I can then put 4 in, and see that's just in forward position. Then I could continue 3 and then put another 4 in. So there I put on the shift from this flat 7 to the octave, which is a common combined 3-note and 4-note per string one. But don't limit yourself to it. Again, we want freedom of movement across the whole neck. So try and do 4 notes per string on any string. So you don't end up moving too much forward. I'd recommend to only play somewhere between, you could do 1, but you're not going to move forward much. So 2 to 3, maybe at the most 4 strings with 4 notes per string, and the rest would be 3 notes per string. So for example, I could start off with 4 notes per string, whether slide or shift doesn't matter. Then maybe do 3, then maybe do 3 again, then do 4, then maybe do 4 again. So the point is, I can do 4 twice in a row, I can do 3 twice in a row, I can do any combination I want. Coming back, I could do 4, then 3, 4, 3, 3, 4. So I can really mix it into any combination I want. And it doesn't have to be the same ascending and descending, because the goal is to be able to freely put in the 4 anytime you want, in any position. So that if I'm playing here in this mixed leading position, I can shift forward into this. Now I'm up here in this natural minor position. I can shift forward again. I can shift back. I can start putting licks in on it so that I'm not just... Eventually I'm improvising with it. I'm just getting comfortable with able to shift on any string to the adjacent position, and then able to shift again if I want to. Okay, so that's combined 3 and 4 note per strings. And on the video I did on that, I did, this will be a tab for it, again, all these will be linked. I did a lick, and I did some exercises, and some the scale fingerings too. They showed different combinations of 3 and 4. Now, another thing you can do, and this is the last one of the group, is we've moved diagonally forward, we've moved horizontal, and we've moved vertically. So I've basically done a plus and one line of it. So if I want the other side of the X, I need to move diagonally backwards too, which is the one that's done least often. That's why I put it last. So on this, how do you move diagonally backwards? Well, basically if I take the notes of the scale, C, D, if I'm doing like a C major, all these have been the key of C major, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So if I do 2 notes per string on a diatonic scale versus a pentatonic, I'm going to move diagonally backwards. Now on this, kind of like the 4 notes per string, I wouldn't necessarily recommend going through the whole scale this way. You can practice it that way, but instead I'd pick a spot and then maybe go right into my scale. Maybe just do a couple of them and then come right back into the scale. So it's a way for you to shift positions that direction, but I wouldn't necessarily go all the way that way, because again, the importance is to make it musical, and it's like you're driving across country without ever making a stop. Whether I'm going whatever direction, I usually want to, at some point, stop in position and do something else. Then maybe I'm moving forward this way. So that's the 4 note per string one. 4 notes going backwards. You can use interval jumps in these to make it more melodic. But even if I'm doing interval jumps, I did a video on this too, which I'll link. Oftentimes what it is, it's a 4 note grouping that I'm just leaving off a note to create a minor third in this case, and the whole step, or maybe a major third with the half step. So that's still 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just skipping a note. So that's the way you can make these shifts a little bit more melodic. I also did one on a Paul Gilbert lick, which on that one he shifted forward in this way. There he's skipping a note and then repeating some of the notes. So yeah, skipping notes, putting sequences, putting arpeggios, all this stuff is how you make it more interesting. But in this video, I want to focus on just the straight scale runs that move in the different positions. Then you have to make them musical by actually doing something other than a straight scale run. So, hope you liked the video. I'm going to leave it at that. If there's any comments, leave questions in the comment section. Please like, share, and thanks for watching.